Here I am at the Ballard locks. The locks are actually opening right now. The water's low. We're probably going to see some boats approaching in the next few moments as those gates, as soon as they're fully open. Hopefully you can see them opening up. This whole area in here is going to fill with water once it's loaded with boats. It rises them up to the level of the lake. This allows the boats to go from the ocean level to the lake level. These gentlemen work for the Corps of Engineers, and they have a strap as a safety device so that in case anything happens, they're protected. Here we can see a tugboat with a large barge of sand and gravel that's moved into the locks. Salmon Bay, which is just on the other side of the Ballard locks, is the main base for the Alaskan fishing fleet. We can see ships here that some of them are being repaired, some of them are being refitted, or some of them have just come in for resupply. This whole area is heavily dependent on the ships. We have a wide range of different sizes. Here we have the Seattle police boat, moving in very slowly. Not sure what they're up to. Possibly it's just come in to turn around on its patrols. Here we can see one of the barges from the front as it gets ready for the water level to be raised. These large gates that we can see here actually hold back the water where it's much higher on this side and much lower on this side. Now the water will start to be let into the area of the locks, and we will see as this barge begins to rise. This barge actually makes me feel rather nostalgic as I look down at it. It's primarily steel with some parts of it wood. The reason why I feel a little bit nostalgic is because at one point my father had a steel fabricating shop, and he came up with a great idea of why not try and bid on barges for the Corps of Engineers. So he started bidding, and he was rather successful. Now, not being anywhere near a port was a little bit of a hindrance, so what he did was he put together the barges in pieces, and then he would ship it to the port of Philadelphia, and they'd be put together, completed at the port. Made a very cost-effective way to build barges on top of a mountain. If you can make out in this, we're now starting to see the water rise. The barge is much higher than it was a few minutes ago in comparison to where I stand. You know, this lock is very similar to the ones used in the Panama Canal. And what we find is that for years, American battleships were constrained by the size of the canal because the battleship could not be wider than the locks of the canal to allow the Navy to operate on two oceans. Here we can see another boat coming in on the other side. There's actually two locks here. And this boat is on its way out to the ocean side. Now we're part way through the water level being raised, and we can see that the barge has come up as compared to where I stand considerably. In the background, you may be able to hear the alarm bell is going off at the upper end of the locks, which means that in a moment, there it goes, it's starting to open right now. The water level has been equalized between the lake and the lock so that the barge can now move forward. As you can see now, as compared to where I stand, the barge is actually up a considerable level. And it's getting set to move forward. There, now the locks, gates are completely open, so the alarm's turned off. I hear the tugboat starting to pick up its motors, and we'll start to see this slowly. Yes, we're now seeing it slowly move forward. Tugboats and barges aren't known for speed. What they are known for is if you get some idea of the massive amounts of sand and gravel, primarily gravel on this boat, it's massive amounts of weight that they're able to move at an extremely cost-effective point. tugboat is starting to pick up a little bit of speed as it maneuvers its large load through the locks as it gets ready to deliver somewhere in the Seattle area. We can see the crew out on the tugboat. Looks like they're not having a bit of problems at all. It's not just barges that move through the locks. We have working boats, we have pleasure crafts, as we can see here. The locks here at Ballard are actually about the busiest locks in the whole world. On a Saturday or Sunday, you'll see hundreds and hundreds of pleasure boats, motor boats, sailboats. I've even seen a canoe go through here, but it was tied to a larger boat. So it's a very, very busy place besides all the fishing and the commercial traffic. This pleasure craft is being towed by a tugboat. It's being towed alongside. It's probably the equivalent of calling for a tow truck. It's probably going in for repairs. We can see a train going across the railroad bridge up there. That's actually a drawbridge, as we can see. It tips back. It's an extremely busy line. It's the main line through this area to Canada. Here we can see where Lake Washington is being held back by large steel plates, and then underneath it, the water is allowed to come out. They have to maintain the level of the lake. One problem is that with the dam and the locks, salmon have to have some way to get into Lake Washington. Here we see the fish ladder. And this is where the fish can swim up through. It's hard to see them from here, but I'm going to go to someplace where we can see them a little better. As I get set to go inside, we can see more of the fish ladders. As the salmon have a way to find their way through this whole section. Unfortunately, I'm here at the wrong time of year. The fish aren't moving through. We can see the water moving through the fish ladder, but the salmon are not running at this point.
On arriving, the female salmon lays up to several thousand eggs, which are then fertilized by the male.
Here we can see a very small salmon.
The adults die.
It's probably a small.
When the eggs hatch in the
spring, will go on out to the ocean now to grow and come back here in another 3 to 4 years.
To 1 year before migrating to the ocean.
Not an exciting sight, but
the longer journey from fresh to salt water
is a
and
quiet day here. Here we can see a small pleasure craft waiting for the locks to fill up so it can enter Lake Washington. If you can make them out, there's the boats tie up by rope to the side, and then the sides raise. So now he's in the process of raising. It'll be a few minutes before he passes through the locks. Well, that's it from here at the locks in Ballard. I've seen about all we can see today. Hopefully you guys will enjoy this.